Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic, and this is another episode of Comic Back Issue. And I'm ending a 6-part series that I've been working on. This is the conclusion to Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Dark Lords of the Sith. I'll just take a few seconds to talk about the cover art here. Excellent cover art. All the cover art in this 6-parter has been really, really good art by Dave Dorman. See this Jedi that's been turned to the dark side with the very Vader-esque looking armor and all the fire in the background. Great cover. Great cover for the last issue in the 6-part miniseries. Credits: Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, Dark Lords of the Sith. Tom Veitch and Kevin J. Anderson, script. Art Weatherall, pencils. Jordy Ensign, inks. Willie Schubert, lettering. Pamela Rambeau, colors. Hugh Fleming, cover art. And for this final issue, the art team has been mixed up a little bit because we have a new penciler. Chris Gossett didn't pencil this last issue, and I'll talk about that later on. Jedi Assault. So now we left off at the last issue where they went after Ulic and he had turned to the dark side. So now they went back to the Jedi retreat. It went back to Ossus, and Exar Kun headed because he sensed he had enemies in the Theta star system, so he was on his way there. So the two main characters that the story has been revolving around, Exar Kun and Ulic, are now on a collision course. So the story begins with the Jedi preparing an assault, and they're testing out some new fighters they have because they're going to go on a rescue mission to rescue Ulic from the Theta star system. But one of the fighters is a little bit sluggish and slams into a cliff, and it's seeming that the Jedi pilot was killed. However, he escaped using Jedi levitation powers. So now the Jedi go and discuss their plan with the Jedi Council of the Jedi Masters, and they give clearance, but they warn them that if Ulic does not want to come on his own free will, they cannot force him. He has to leave. He has to leave on his own free will. And if he stays, then that's his fate, to be consumed by the dark side. And meanwhile, on Sinagar, Exar Kun has arrived, and he's on his way to the Citadel. And he senses students of Freedom Nad behind the walls. Meanwhile, on the inside, Alima has been manipulating Ulic and manipulated him into taking care of his cousin her cousin in the last issue. She gives him this amulet, dark side amulet, similar to the one that Exar Kun has, and it's a very powerful dark side weapon. And then as Exar Kun is approaching, his amulet actually senses the other dark side amulet, so he knows there's someone else in there with an amulet similar to the one that he got on the Yavin moon. And then here the Jedi invade, and they attack the Krath, and they're on a rescue mission to get Ulic back. So now they use the flying creatures from Crate or the flying creatures from the planet Ossus they brought with them, and they're going to use those to swoop down into the top of the tower here and rescue Ulic. They come in, and there's a brief confrontation here as Alima tries to use her dark side powers to cast illusions against Nomi Sunrider. But Nomi Sunrider overpowers her dark side magic with her Jedi battle meditation. And then Ulic tells her, she can't stay, she has to leave. So Nomi Sunrider and Ulic's brother, they try to convince Ulic to come back with them. But he just says, you guys are weak and you're cowards, and I'm here to avenge my master. But they tell him that the reason why your master has never appeared to you after his death is because you have turned to the dark side. But he's too far gone with the poisons that he's been infected with from the last issue that he uses the Sith amulet to drive back his friends. They try to subdue him and bring him back by force. But Alima tells them that they can't. It's up to him now. It's his fate he has chosen, and they can't force him. It's not Jedi way. If he doesn't want to come back, then they just have to leave him. So the Jedi mission to rescue Ulic has failed, and they decide to leave the planet. So the Jedi leave, and then Exar Kun shows up. And he is bent on destroying these two because he views them as his enemy. So Alima tries to attack him, but her dark side magic is nothing compared to the dark side powers that Exar Kun has tapped into. So he just blasts her aside with dark side energies. And then Ulic and Exar Kun then have a duel with lightsabers, but they're both evenly matched. One can't get over the other. Then their amulets start to glow and start to spew out dark side energy, and they're both engulfed in dark side energy. And then images of ancient Sith appear to them and tell them to cease. And these are Sith that have been extinct for hundreds of years, and they tell the two that they have been chosen to carry on the mantle of the Dark Lords of the Sith. So they both burn a symbol into their foreheads. And then they tell Exar Kun that Ulic is going to be his new apprentice. And Ulic joins with Exar Kun as they become master and apprentice. And Alima is shocked at the dark side power. So that's the end of this issue. That's the conclusion. The two Jedi that the story has been revolving around have become Dark Lords of the Sith, and that's the ending of the story. So basically, interesting because the good guys don't win. They actually fail in their mission to stop the Krath and end up losing two Jedi to the dark side of the Force. So now the story ends. Now the Jedi have an even worse problem than what they had before. Now I just want to talk about the artwork a little bit. It's one of the gripes I have with this final issue is it always really annoys me when you have a really good penciler that you enjoy on a mini-series or an ongoing series. I know ongoing series, it's inevitable. They're going to eventually leave. But for a mini-series that's only 5 or 6 issues, it really annoys me that they don't keep the same artist. Now, I don't know why Chris Gossett left and didn't do the last issue, but you can really see that the next artist is not as good, doesn't suit the story as well. It doesn't put the detail into it that Chris Gossett did, like that elaborate detail into the armor and all the weapons and stuff. So I was really disappointed with this last issue when I first read it and saw they had switched to a new artist. And so that's the end of that issue. Overall, pretty good. Although I think it would probably have been a little bit more interesting if one of the two Jedi had, in their lightsaber duel, if one had killed the other. And then the next guy, you could have made a miniseries where he has to find a new apprentice. That would have been kind of interesting, but they ended it with the one guy becoming the other guy's apprentice, and two of them becoming the new Sith in the galaxy. So this was my first entry when I was a teenager into the expanded Star Wars universe, and it was a pretty interesting one. Overall, not a bad series if you're a fan of Star Wars and you like the older Tales of the Jedi type stuff. This is a good one to pick up. So that's everything for this issue. So let me know what you think in the comments, what you think of my review. It's if you agree with it or you think this whole 6-issue miniseries sucks, or if you think it's good, let me know in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I will see you at the next one.